everyone. Today we're going to be interviewing Sarah Ferguson, who is a native Nevadan who spent over 15 years living away from Reno in various parts of the country while working and getting her BA and law degree. She spent 10 years in New York City exploring and experiencing its cultural offerings, and when the time was right, she eagerly returned to Reno with her family, where she's a lawyer and founder of the Reno Contemporaries, a community devoted to supporting and promoting the arts in Reno. She loves all things Reno, from its culture and its mountains, and is always excited to explore and share Reno hidden gems. So I'm gonna invite Sarah to join us here. Hey!
I did it right!
You did!
Yay!
Well, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm
Hello,
happy
Sarah.
that you were here with us. We've been doing these quarantine interview sessions since it all started. And yeah, thank you for being with us.
I love it. I love this opportunity to be with you, and I've been watching the interviews. I think they're great. So I'm honored that you asked me to be a part of it. It's great.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Well, let's start. So I introduced you to everybody. Told them a little bit about you, and so you went away from Reno and lived in various places, and then 10 years in New York City. How did it feel coming back to Reno from like such a big city as New York?
Oh, it was great. I mean, I was really fortunate to have an incredible experience in New York. I got to live and work there, and go to school there, so I had a lot of experiences. But coming home, Reno has always felt like home, and I have always wanted to come back. And so when it worked out that I was able to move my family here, it felt like a true homecoming, and it was just wonderful. I mean, Reno has changed so much. It's crazy. But it's really exciting, and that's part of why the Contemporaries started, and that's part of why I was finally able to get back here. It's just because there is so much growth. So yeah, it's great to be back. It's such an easier lifestyle.
Oh yeah, I bet from New York.
Yes. Yeah, it's really, I mean, it's a great place to be, but there's a certain point in your life when it gets to be kind of a lot. So
Yeah, especially with the baby.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Once you start to have a family, it really changes things. And so I was really, like I said, the timing was just very right. And yeah, so being back has been just wonderful.
Oh, good to hear.
Yes.
So on that note, we all know that New York has a lot of, culture, like a lot of art things and culture to offer its citizens, but what do you think are the advantages of being a smaller town such as Reno?
Well, Reno is just, as we said, it's growing. It's really exciting. And because of that growth and its size, is really accessible in a way that a lot of other larger cities aren't. It's really, I can call up a museum at the university and say, hey, can I bring some people in to look at some art? Yeah. Like that doesn't happen in bigger cities, right? And talking with people who work in the city, who work, say, in Art Town or, other art events, Sierra Arts Foundations, the Holland Project, everybody is so collaborative,
Yeah.
And I think that even before "we're in this together" became a catchphrase, that was the feeling in Reno, especially in the arts and culture community, is that, we know that if we want this city to grow in a thoughtful way that can sustain the arts, we all have to be in this together, right? We all have to be part of this growth and supporting each other. And Reno is just such a supportive community, something that I really love about it.
Yeah, me too. So like me coming here from big cities as well, you definitely feel like that accessibility, that, willingness to grow together, to find new things and to work in a collaborative way, which in big cities it's harder, I feel.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you feel like that because we're very excited to have you here.
Thanks. So as I mentioned, and you also brought it up, you're the founder of the Reno Contemporaries, and it's been so amazing to participate in the incredible events that you've been putting up.
Oh, thank you.
And what was your inspiration to create this group? Where did it all start?
So I started when I came home, and I started looking around for ways to get involved in the community and to get in touch with artists in the culture community. And there are definitely a lot of outlets in Reno. There's a lot of events that are happening, but it's hard it was hard for me anyway to find ways to engage in those events with my contemporaries, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sort of community building again that goes on in bigger cities, but in this town I just felt like it was missing. And I kept talking to people, especially sort of in our age cohort, the 25 to
Hmm.
45 roughly age cohort, who would say like, I have a hard time meeting people. Like I have a hard time, like I go to things and I see a lot of people at them, but I don't know any of them,
Hmm.
or they're not my age or whatever. And so I just want, I want a way to connect into that community. And so I started talking with friends, and people were feeling the same way. And so that's kind of was the genesis of it.
It's so cool because we went to the first Reno Contemporary event, and it was like it felt such like old friends were meeting, and even people that I didn't know anybody, but it felt familiar. It
Yeah,
felt that we belonged together in a sense.
that's
And it's so wonderful that you put that together. It's like incredible.
Oh, well, thank you so much. That's really sweet of you to say. And that is the kind of, I guess, vibe, to use one of the cool kids words these days, that we're going for, is that we really want people to feel at home, and we want our events to be a way to highlight an artist, often a space, often also a local business, so that so that somebody can actually really meaningfully interact with those components of the event, as
Yeah.
well as the people who are attending the event, right?
And I
We
think
all
that's key. Yeah.
Right. Like, and that's how you build community, is you have opportunities to actually meaningfully engage with things, with events, with people, with artists, whatever it is. And I think especially in like larger events, that I think they also have a different vibe, but sometimes that connection in the moment can be lost a little bit. And so that's
Yeah.
something that we're really trying to foster, is
And the thing is,
approachable
yeah,
community.
like a more, yeah, approachable. And the thing with smaller towns is it's sometimes for an outsider harder to find a community,
Yes,
you know?
correct.
And art is such a key way of doing that, and for outsiders like myself, being able to join an event like that with a lot of locals, a lot of people that knew each other from, high school, and feel welcome. It's hard. That happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had heard that, from, again, I, since I grew up here, it was not like I knew a lot of people when I came
Yeah.
back. And I had heard from a lot of folks how hard it is to get in touch with people, with whom they have commonalities. And that was
Hmm.
also something that we really wanted to do with the contemporaries, is that it's such an easy touchstone, right, for
Yeah.
people to say like, oh, this is a group that supports and promotes the arts and culture. Like,
Hmm.
great, I
Yeah.
love art. And so I bet that I'm going to
Count me
meet
in.
people. Yeah, exactly. I bet that I'm going to meet people who are interested in arts and culture, and who are
Yeah.
also artists, and who
Hmm.
are actually creating. And we do have a lot of artists in the group as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
which is super important. that's really important for me because I'm a lawyer by day. And so like, I really like to interact with other people.
So like I need art in my life.
Yes, exactly. I had to even it out, right? So
Yeah.
that was a really important part of this, and just providing a place where people can come and feel comfortable and it feels like home, right?
Yeah.
And that's how also people get engaged with a community, and that's how we get people to stay in this community. I mean, we have people like like you and Tim who have moved back, and we want you guys to stay forever. And people like you guys are like the poster children for contemporaries. And it's really important, right? We want our artists to come here and to be happy and to be able to create a sustainable life here.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what we're all about.
That's amazing. And well, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but in his interviews that I've been doing, it's kind of like something that keeps coming back is that most people that I've spoken, they have the same perception of art. They see it as a way to create community, which is what you've been doing. Well, so like this is exactly what you've been doing, but were your intentions initially just to connect like with arts and events around town, or was to create a community?
It was, I think the community creation part evolved as we started having
Naturally.
conversations about
Okay.
what people were interested in. This started with a pretty large focus group actually at the NMA, at Nevada Museum of Art.
Yeah.
I guess about a year and a half ago. And what came out of that conversation and other follow-on conversations was just that people they really wanted a way to connect with the arts and artists in this town. And they really wanted a way to connect with each other. They wanted events that had a social component to them, that they knew that they could walk into a room and it would be full of cool, interesting people. And there would also be an event that was happening that was a way to support the arts. And so that was, community is it's really important in any town. But I think that it's particularly important in a city like this one that's growing so fast, so fast. And that is super exciting. And I want people, not just artists and people who are interested in the arts, but also people who are coming here for tech or for whatever other industries that are happening. I want them to come here and to feel like they're at home here and to stay here, because I think that growth is also really important. Yeah. So it's putting it all together, I guess.
It just kind of happened that way.
Yeah, it was pretty organic, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people really, like I said, the more that we started talking about it, the more it became clear to us that community building was an essential part of this.
Part of it.
Yeah.
Amazing. So what have you been doing during quarantine to stay connected with art?
I have been doing a lot of reading and seeing what other cities and organizations are doing. So you interviewed Chris a couple weeks ago, I guess, at Double Scoop. Double Scoop is freaking amazing. Everybody should read it and follow it. And she's wonderful. And we had our first Zoom board meeting last week. And so we're starting to think about, what do the arts in a time of COVID look like? How does that change the way that we have to perceive art and connect with art and interact with it and each other? A lot of, like I said, a lot of social media, actually, that's kind of the way to do it. And also, frankly, I love our murals around town. I don't know, for those of you who are in Reno who are
driving,
we have great murals. So anytime I go to buy alcohol, I try to look at the murals around town.
They are pretty cool. They're cool.
They're great. And so, we have, like I said, I think that people's perception about how we interact with art is changing, and it's going to have to change. And that's something that I certainly do not have an answer to yet. But it's something I've been thinking a lot about. Yeah. I'm sure you have been too.
Yeah. I've been researching and thinking about this and talking to other museum professionals, and nobody knows what's going to happen, but definitely this year is going to be a strange one until things get back to normal.
Yeah, but I mean, who knows what that even looks like, right?
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
mean, and in some ways, I mean, it's scary and everybody's using the word uncertain a lot.
Mm.
And it does tend to make one a little bit queasy from time to time. And I will say that it is a little sometimes exciting to me to be able to think about things differently, to
Yeah.
get a different perspective on things, to get creative with
Yeah.
how we can get through this together. You know, I think that there are certainly some opportunities here for some interesting change.
Yeah, and I've been thinking a lot about it too. There's a lot of negative, attached to, all we all going through together. But I think thinking about the positive aspects of all of this is also important, as a human and just to be sane, if you think about
Yes,
only the negative things, yeah, can be really hard. So I've been thinking,
absolutely.
just focusing on the more positive aspects of this and how can we learn from this time at home going forward, like should we go back to normal,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
It's just
absolutely. How do we change our perceptions about things, and how
yeah.
do we help support the arts and culture in a
And
meaningful
community
way?
in general, just
Yeah.
like this
Yes.
time is great. It's a great time to see how community is important and how we miss it and how we can,
Yes.
be kind to each other.
Yeah. And foster it from afar, together
Yeah,
apart.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really
All right. Well,
very,
last
yeah.
question from me. Any advices for the cultural chases out there during this uncertain time?
I think actually we just touched on it a little bit, and not to sound like too much of a Pollyanna, obviously we all have our days when we just need to be a little bit dark about this, but to the extent possible, I think it's interesting to think about it as an opportunity, as a time that we can all change ourselves, our perceptions, how we relate to each other, how we relate to our community, to our artists, to our local businesses. I think that they're also very important in this time.
Okay.
And so I think that and also looking for funky, creative things to do. There's this Instagram site I've been following, that the Tusk. I'm going to mispronounce this. I apologize to any
Oh, the Dutch one.
Yes, yes.
So cool.
It's so great.
Yeah,
Tuscan.
let me yeah, I don't remember by heart, but I've been following them and I
It's
it did
so good.
great, so good. And I started
So
following them
good.
when they had like 2, 3 followers. So I saw the whole evolution and they blew up. It
It's
blew up.
amazing. So for those
So
of you
good.
on the interwebs who don't know what we're talking about, it's this Instagram account that, of
Let
course,
me
neither one of
get
us.
the name
Vivian's
here.
gonna get on the computer.
Yeah.
But you pick a painting that's famous or maybe not famous, and then next to it you do a photo of yourself using like 3 or 4 household items as that painting. And it's just
So good.
totally brilliant. It's
Yeah.
completely amazing. And it's really funny too. People are
It's
hilarious
hilarious.
and
So it's
really creative. People are
very.
super creative. So if you're a creative
Gonna
type,
try to find a couple here.
it's you
It's
should do
good.
it.
It's so good. And it's called Tussenkunst and Quarantine.
Yes.
So let me see if I can do.
Yes. It's so good.
And I like this avocado.
That's exactly the kind of thing, like, that's just an avocado. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
so good.
It's genius.
It is genius.
It's
I'll
really
share.
genius.
I'll share on our live feed.
Great. Yeah.
Links to
And
everybody.
that's the kind of stuff, like just quirky, funky stuff that I think is really important to keep your spirits up and to keep in touch with things, and just anyway.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
anyway.
Good reminder. Yes. Well, thank you so much, Sarah, for being
Yeah,
with us
of
today.
course. I'm so happy that you invited me to do this, and it was fun. It's good to see
Yeah.
you.
Well, it's always great to see you, talk to you.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And I'm looking forward to a time when we can come back to the museum in person.
yeah, and get
For
a
anybody,
date.
again, for anybody in the interwebs in Reno, when we're allowed to leave our houses again, go to the Lilley because it's amazing. And also come to a Reno Contemporaries event.
Yes.
Hey, shameless self-promotion.
We all do it.
Yes,
All right,
absolutely.
Sarah. Have a great day.
So good to see you, Vivian.
Good to see you. Bye.
Bye.